Okay, so hello and welcome to today's digital department update with industrial engineering. Just some housekeeping things before we get started. This event, I'll record it and I'll upload it to our YouTube channel afterwards. As always, everyone likes to know who's here. So if you can, in the chat function, just write just to say hi and just put your class and major just so we know. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Wolstead, Department Head for Industrial Engineering.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Should be.
Let's try. Does that look like it's working?
Yes, I can see it.
All right. So again, my name is Jeff Wolstead, and I'm the department head for industrial engineering. And I kind of thought I'd start off talking a little bit about my background. Many people I know, but I haven't been here that long relative to kind of the School of Mines. So if you look at my background, I've been to lots of different universities in my career. I started off in Seattle, and I went to the University of Michigan as a student. And then I had my first job at Virginia Tech, and I moved to Texas Tech and to Oregon State, back to Texas Tech, Nebraska, and then here to the School of Mines. So I've been in engineering and teaching college for almost 40 years now, which is hard to think about. But I've also been an administrator now for about 15 to 20 years. So I was an associate dean at Texas Tech University, and then the department chair at the University of Nebraska Industrial Engineering. And then I've been here about 5 years. And, you know, as I said, it doesn't seem like a long time, but there's probably only 2 or 3 other department heads here at the School of Mines that have been here longer. So we've had quite a bit of turnover in terms of department heads and you know, how people have. We've also had quite a turnover in terms of the senior administration. So since I've come, almost all of the senior administration has changed or turned over. So in talking about the industrial engineering department, I wanted to go over a few of the changes that have taken place and a little bit about what we plan for the future. So to begin with, we've had quite a bit of change in faculty. And so in the last, and this is just since I've been here, since 2017, we've had 3 retirements or resignations. Stu Kellogg retired in 2019, Paula Jensen in 2020, and Frank Matejek this last year. And so based upon that, we've added 3 people and including myself, 4, and we're in the process of hiring another person. So we should be at the end of the year, we should be up to about 8 full-time faculty members, and we use a number of adjunct instructors. And then we have 1 administrative assistant for the department. So in looking at the new faculty that have joined the industrial engineering department, they're listed over here on the right. And so one is Dr. Dubé, and Dr. Dubé came from the University of Tennessee. He really does operations research and transportation. He also teaches a number of the management courses that we have. So he tends to teach things that are related to accounting and that part of the management field. We have Dr. Na. Dr. Na came in 2019 and he came from Penn State University. He also does operations research in primarily emergency response types of things. So he's looking at evacuation, and I think he's been working on some things associated with fires lately, because again, that's an issue out here in the West. And then just in this last year, we hired Dr. Guo, and she came from the University of Oklahoma. And she has a background both in industrial engineering and operations research, but also an MBA degree and background in management. And so for our engineering management component of the degree, all of these people are really able to contribute both to the industrial engineering part of what we do and the engineering management part of what we do. So I'm not sure how you want to do this, Sarah, whether you'd like me to answer any questions that people have as we go or wait till the end.
Let's wait to the end. That way you can get through your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we look at what's happening in the department, so, clearly we have new faculty and we have a quite a turnover in what the department is doing. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that's creating some change within the department and some of the things that we want to do in the future. One of the big things going on now, and you may hear it in the background, is that they're renovating Devereaux Library. So for those of you that haven't been to campus, the industrial engineering department moved to the basement of Devereaux Library, I think, in about 2015 or 2016. And we occupy about, right now, a little over half of the basement of the library. The library is undergoing a major renovation right now. And so this is a look at what it will look like when it's finished. If you remember what the library looked like before, you can see that there are lots more windows. And this is really intended to be kind of a modern study space for the students here at the School of Mines. It's got big open floor plans on the second and third floor. It's going to have a coffee shop. I think I have some pictures. This is a little bit of what it's supposed to look like on the entry part. And the Student Success Center will be there. All ITS moves up to the second and third floors of that building. You can probably hear them right now chipping away at the floor up right above me. But essentially what this has meant is that we're in quite a state of transition. We're still located in the basement. We have been moved out of the library once or twice. It depends on kind of a tolerance for noise. And both our tolerance for noise and heating and cooling has been out and water has been out. We don't typically have too many people down in the library right now. And so I think it's made it a little bit difficult for the department to feel like we have a home, but when it's all done, we should have a much better space. And we're really looking forward to having most of the basement when the library is completed, and being able to do a little bit of renovation and make it into a space that we can use a little bit more. So this is a look at the first floor, but that's really the basement for the library. The main entrance for the library is on the second floor. And again, if we look at the library, it has 4 floors. The second and third are kind of student spaces, so that they'll have coffee shop and meeting rooms and a maker space and student services and ITS will all be up in that space. Up on the 4th floor will be kind of the traditional leftover part of the library and looking at the books and the collections and the librarians. And then the basement will be primarily the industrial engineering department. So if we look at, and I'm not sure you can see my pointer, the industrial engineering occupies about this much of the library right now. This is Dr. Jensen's lab. When the library is complete, we'll hopefully move over into this space also, and the space that's here behind the elevators and bathrooms. So that'll give us quite a bit more space in the library. This part will still be used by ITS for storage, but we should have the ability to kind of expand some of our both research and teaching facilities down in the library, and think about how we might want to arrange things so that we can make a little better use of the space that we have down there. So that's a pretty exciting development. We're excited about that occurring and getting done right now. It's scheduled to be completed, I think, sometime next year. If you come to campus, what you'll see is that all of the second, third, and fourth floors are really under construction with the walls and windows knocked out and plastic over the surface. None of those are being used right now, only the basement. And again, it's a little bit rough down here. So if you have come to visit, I'm sorry that the space that we have isn't quite as nice for you to visit as it will be when we finish. So we can think about those things in terms of the industrial engineering department. We have new faculty. We hopefully will have new space. An issue in industrial engineering always is thinking about enrollment. So this is a look at our academic enrollment by year in the industrial engineering degree. And you can see that similar to the university, we peaked in about 2017, 2018. And then we have decreased in enrollment down to somewhere around 100 or 101 students right now. And there's a couple interesting things about that. One is that although our enrollment has decreased, the number of graduates that we've produced really have increased. And there's a couple reasons for that. For those of you that may have been industrial engineering students, probably when you came into the department, you transferred from another department. And so we've done a couple of things to look at that in the past. And this just shows for one particular year, how many freshmen that were enrolled, how many transferred from outside of industrial engineering, and how many transferred from inside of industrial engineering. And you can see that a majority of the students transferred from someplace. And so most of our students come from other parts of the university. I think that's a problem with industrial engineering as a degree. It's pretty much the same everywhere in that industrial engineering just isn't recognized by freshmen and high school students as something that they would want to do. Typically, the name is not very attractive. They think about old factories as opposed to a lot of the things that we do. And so we get most of our students through that transfer component of the university. And that means our retention is really high. If we actually look at the retention numbers, most of the students that come into industrial engineering stay in industrial engineering. But again, most of our students come from other places and come into the degree program. So, we contribute to retention in the university in a way that's different than many of the other departments. An interesting thing, if you go back and look at these degree programs, is that the School of Mines has just started a number of different majors to try and attract more students to come to the university. And 3 of them that have affected us pretty significantly, and I think in a good way. In general, those are the bioengineering undergraduate degree. We also started an undergraduate degree in technical management. And so it's business and technical management. And we also have allowed a lot of students to come in as undecided students. And so coming into the university, we're getting more and more students that come into those 3 different programs. Now, one of the things that's done then is to reduce our enrollment overall, because we're not getting the same number of freshmen and sophomore students that we used to get when they came into the university. On the other hand, we're getting way more transfer students from those 3 programs. And so the number of graduates that we're producing has stayed consistent, is actually increasing. And I think a lot of that is from students coming into an undecided degree program or a business management degree program or bioengineering, and then moving into industrial engineering. And so we kind of expect all of those 3 things to help our enrollment as we go through. And even though our enrollment may go down, the number of degrees that we're producing is still pretty substantial for the university. This is a little look at the engineering management program. So if we look at enrollment of students in the industrial engineering department, we have an undergraduate program in industrial engineering and engineering management. We have a graduate program in engineering management, and that's primarily an online program. And then we have a new master's degree in industrial engineering, and that just started last year, and we have our first 2 students into that program. For engineering management, you can see that again, the high was somewhere in 2017, 2018. It's decreased, but it seems to be going in the right direction, at least in terms of their enrollment in that program. A lot of our students coming into that program are students that choose the accelerated option for undergraduate students. And we have that option both for the engineering management master's degree and for the industrial engineering master's degree. And typically what happens with that is that students are able to count up to 3 courses for both their master's degree and for their undergraduate degree. And so we have a variety of courses that we allow them to use as electives for their undergraduate degree. And then those count to their graduate degree, and they just get closer to finishing about 1 semester. And so it usually takes them, a year and a half. Again, since our engineering management degree program is entirely online, they can get a job after they complete those 3 accelerated courses on campus and go out and complete the rest of their degree in the evenings or on weekends, or taking 1 course at a time while they're working. And a majority of our students do that. We've been very successful in convincing very good students to join the accelerated program, get a little bit of graduate credit before they leave the university, then leave the university and complete their master's degree as they're working and doing that. We also do that quite a bit with other departments. And so if we look at the accelerated students that we have a number of students from mechanical engineering and chemical engineering and mining. They're able to count a few electives as undergraduate courses and also be able to move forward with their graduate program. This is a little bit in looking at our latest placement data. And so the things that you see on this overhead are primarily the overall placement. And this is for the latest year. And so you can see where people are going. The number of graduates for the latest year is about 36. And the placement is about 97%, meaning only 1 or 2 that we haven't found that have been placed so far. Our placement in general has been between 95 and 100%. We have, in general, a very high demand for our students. They're able to get relatively good jobs right away. The average salary you can see there for the last year was about $66,000, which puts us in the middle of the engineering disciplines here at the School of Mine. And down below, you can see some of the companies that have hired our students as they've graduated. And they go to a variety of different companies in lots of different areas. And I think that's one of the things about industrial engineering that's both encouraging and difficult in some ways, is that there is a big demand for students and they go out and do a lot of different exciting things. But that's hard to communicate to high school students. And so, we're perpetually trying to get more students into the program and convincing them that this is something that they want to do. And again, when they come, most of them stay for their entire degree and oftentimes get a master's degree as they move forward. This is a look at our strategic plan. So some of the things that we're working on, one of the things that's happened at the School of Mines in general and in industrial engineering in specific is that we're hiring new faculty with the expectation that they do research. And so to be able to succeed as a faculty member at the School of Mines now, you're going to need to be able to do research and bring in both research contracts to the university and be able to publish technical journal papers as a result of the work that you do. And so that means that we need to increase the graduate offerings that we have on campus. Faculty members need typically to work with graduate students to do that research. And that means we need to adjust our curriculum a little bit. And so we've been thinking about how to do that. We've also been looking at recruiting students into our on-campus MSIE degree. Typically, those students expect to be supported in their degree. So most people in engineering that do on-campus thesis level master's degrees are supported full-time either through a scholarship or through research. And so we need to work on getting more of those scholarships and getting more research to do that. And we also need the degree program. So again, we added a master's degree in industrial engineering last year, and we have 2 students in it starting this year. I think that's been encouraging. It's helping us do some research that way. We also participate in the bioengineering multidisciplinary PhD program. So Dr. Piper has had PhD students go through that program. And we're working to try and get a PhD degree for the industrial engineering department. And it'll probably be a while until we get that, the number of students that we need for that PhD degree. But in the meantime, we've been participating with computer science and mathematics to create a data science PhD program. And that'll allow us to advise students and have them work on research that's related to data science, which data science is very closely related to operations research, and it allows our faculty in that area to really advise PhD students. So we need to work on our undergraduate offerings and streamlining that. It means a little bit more electives. It means electives that are both undergraduate and graduate classes. We need to work on increasing our research and the percentage of faculty actively involved in that. And we've been doing a very good job that way. Our new faculty and younger faculty have been very active in research and haven't been successful in bringing in outside research to support what they want to do. And then we've also been working to increase our outreach. And that's both in South Dakota and adjacent states, and in particular associated with Ellsworth Air Force Base. And so we've been doing a lot with Ellsworth Air Force Base recently. So here's a few things that we're doing right now. And again, I've mentioned a few of these in the past. We are in the middle of a faculty search to replace Dr. Matejcek. We have had an ad out for the last month or so, and we have about 40 or 50 applicants that we need to screen through, and I anticipate that we'll have a new faculty member in the fall. We're working to coordinate with computer science and math to begin a PhD degree in data science. That will be submitted. We have submitted part of the paperwork last year, and the final paperwork will go in this year, and we'll just have to see how long it takes to get through the Board of Regents before we're able to start offering that degree. We're increasing our interaction quite a bit with Ellsworth Air Force Base. For those of you that haven't kept up too much about what's happening in Rapid City, Ellsworth Air Force Base is expanding significantly for the B-21 bomber, which will be here in a year or so. We've been working with the Air Force Base on a number of senior design projects. So we have right now 2 senior design projects working with the base, and we're about to start another design project. And these have worked out really well. The students like working with the base, and they're working on some pretty high-tech things that have helped them learn about their degree program, and I think have helped the base that way. We've also been teaching a graduate level class as part of the Master of Engineering Management that is a project class that's focused on Department of Defense problems. And so we just finished that. In the last year, we had about 10 students enrolled in that program. They worked on 4 different problems out at Ellsworth Air Force Base. And again, I think it worked out really well. And you know, we're developing those connections, and the university, I think, is moving quite a bit towards being able to be more involved in what happens at Ellsworth Air Force Base. We're recruiting students into the MSIE degree program. Again, that's a brand new degree program, and we need to get new students into that program. There is a little startup in doing that, meaning that it takes a while to get the research and then get the students and get the projects going. And we've made a good start on that, but it's something that we're going to work quite a bit on in the next year or two. We're planning for the completion of the library. When the library gets completed, we can anticipate more space in the library, and that'll mean more laboratory facilities. We'll probably look at putting in more manufacturing type of laboratory experiences, because we have a problem right now that our manufacturing facilities are not really big enough to hold more than 4 or 5 students at one time. And that creates a lot of scheduling problems. So we're kind of thinking about maybe 8 workstations where students can come in and work with different types of manufacturing devices, and also think about data science that way. So we've added some data science classes and thinking about big data and artificial intelligence and things that way. We've started our Alpha Pi Mu chapter. So Alpha Pi Mu is the engineering honored society for industrial engineering. It was active about 10 years ago, and then it became inactive, and we just recently started it up last year, and we had about 10 or so students that were initiated into Alpha Pi Mu. We anticipate that we'll have about that many per year. If you're interested and you're not a member of Alpha Pi Mu and you'd like to be one, contact me and we can look at that. Alumni can join this honor society if they wish to. We just need to make sure that the application goes in and everybody qualifies in the way that they should. Dr. Kirk has been continuing working on the Teoshbe project, and again, that's a program to try and encourage American Indians to graduate with engineering and science degrees. So that was funded by NSF, and the funding for that has expired, which it was predicted to, and that's kind of the normal course of events. But he's looking for external sources to keep that going. And so he's been working quite a bit on fundraising for the Teoshbe group and fundraising to keep that project going. Again, our younger faculty are really working on external and funded research. So that means that they spend quite a bit of their time writing research proposals and completing those proposals once they're funded. And then finally, we're going to have the IIE student conference in spring of next year. And so the students have already started planning for that. And that should be quite a big event. Hopefully the library will be done by that time, and we'll be able to have a large group of students from the regional area into the School of Mines. Also, next year is our ABET year. So ABET is the accreditation agency for engineering and technology schools. And so we're working on preparing all the material that we need to for ABET so that goes well next year. And that happens once every 6 years. So that's all I have. About half an hour is what I predicted, and looks like I'm pretty close to that. If there are questions that I can answer for anyone, I would be happy to do that.
Let me look. Oh, Andrea says, what is the timeline on the PhD degree? i.e. when will it be admitting students?
So that's always hard to predict because we work for the state of South Dakota, and as anyone who's dealt with the state of South Dakota knows, similar to most states, we are unpredictable in how long paperwork takes to go through. So what's happened is there are two steps in the process. One is an intent to plan the degree, and that was done last year. Then actually the degree proposal has to go through this year. And so that proposal is written, it is submitted to the university. It needs to go through a number of steps in the university, such as the graduate curriculum committee and the undergraduate curriculum committee, faculty senate, and then it will be sent to the board of regents, and the board of regents usually will take a while to go through the material. So my guess is that optimistically it will be sometime towards the end of next year. So the end of the 22-23 school year, we'll be able to start admitting students. We have a number of students that are interested in the program already, and so once we get an idea that everything's going to go through without a problem, we'll be able to admit students into the Master Industrial Engineering program, have them finish their master's degree in industrial engineering, and then move on to the PhD when it's actually implemented.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, if there's any other questions, now put them in the, if you can, put them in the chat or the Q&A and I'll watch for them. One question we always get every once in a while is if alumni wanted to get involved with the department with their time or talent, what would be a good way for them to get involved?
Well, there's 2 or 3 different ways that would be helpful to the department. One is that we have an industrial advisory board, and I think there's at least a few of the people on the call that are a part of the industrial advisory board. So we could use more people in that. I think it's been pretty difficult to meet with COVID for our industrial advisory board, and so that we really haven't met for 1.5 years. I think hopefully we will meet sometime this spring. And again, that's one way that the alumni can really help. The other way is to think about, coming to the career fair if you have jobs available in your company. That's a big help to us. I didn't really talk about it, but about 70% of our students do co-ops, whether it's during the summer or during the regular school year. And that's a big help to the students. It gets them a little bit of income. It also helps, the companies that hire them look at the students to see whether they would be a good fit for their organization. But that's another way I think an alumni can really help, is by helping to sponsor those co-ops and within their organization, helping the students get some experience in industrial engineering before they finish their degree.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah. Are there, Mitch is wondering, are there ways for alumni to be involved with the student conference?
I'm sure there will be. The students are in the process of planning that conference, and there's a number of different things that they're looking at. One is that there is some fundraising associated with the student conference, so they're going to need to raise some funds for all the different activities and things that they do during the conference, and then hopefully they're going to be able to involve the alumni, particularly those in Rapid City, in the student conference when it comes. We're still pretty far out, so we're talking about a conference that will be held probably in March or April of 2023. And so a year from this March or April. And so the students really run this conference and do all of the work associated with it. And so they're trying to figure out exactly what they need right now. And so, and there's a bunch of things that typically help on this. One is they want to, they have a bunch of social events, right? And having social events with the alumni that are in town particularly would be helpful to the students. They usually do plant tours, and again, the plant tours are going to be relatively close to the university here. So if you're able to help them tour through your facility, that would be great. And then again, just helping to participate in the concerts through sponsorship. And, they're going to be getting a hold of everybody and trying to generate some sponsorship for the conference.
Thank you. Yeah, any other questions, please let us know. In the meantime, while we're waiting for questions, we're always looking for feedback or ideas on other events or topics that you would like to see. If you can, fill out our survey to always we welcome feedback. We much appreciated it. Oh, and Andrea says, what is the difference between engineering management and IE master's degree?
So there's a couple differences. One is that the intent of the industrial engineering degree is to be an on-campus thesis master's degree. And so that means that you teach, or excuse me, you take courses in industrial engineering, and you also need to take about 6 hours out of the 30 as thesis hours, and you have to write a thesis in doing that. That means you work with an industrial engineering faculty member, you work on their research, you do a component of that, and then you write up, a document, which is usually 100, 150 pages on the research that you did. So what we hope is that the engineering management degree will be the off-campus, distance-oriented program. And again, the goal with that program is to provide people with some background in industrial engineering and management techniques so that they can move into a management position in their company, where the industrial engineering master's degree is the on-campus research-oriented degree that hopefully will feed into our PhD program. So they're structured just a little bit differently. The courses overlap quite a lot, so that all of our engineering management courses are taught so that people can take them via distance or online. A lot of those are taught with a course component. So we'll do some streaming of the lectures that are done on campus, and the Master of Industrial Engineering students will be taking those courses also on campus at the same time.
Thank you.
Just kind of related to that, we are really excited about the data science new degree program. I think it's allowed us to kind of expand our graduate offerings, not only in industrial engineering, but also in mathematics and computer science, particularly in the area of big data and thinking about artificial intelligence and some of the new things that are happening in industry. And so I think once we get it going, it's going to help all three departments, and particularly since most of our new faculty members are really working in that area, to allow them to do research with the other departments and to advise graduate students in a way that will help them do what they want to do.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So yeah, I can see what's included in the data science
Oh, there we
curriculum.
go.
So the curriculum is relatively flexible. PhD programs tend to be flexible. I think it has 3 core courses. So everybody in the program has to take one of the 3 or all 3 of the core courses. And the industrial engineering component of that is optimization. So I think it's optimization techniques, ING 535. Then there is a mathematics course that you need to take, which is primarily on dealing with big data, and a computer science course that you need to take that's related to artificial intelligence. So all students in the PhD degree program have to take those 3 courses, and then they can choose based upon what their research area is from a variety of different elective courses. And so we've added a number of elective courses that probably won't be offered every year even, but maybe every other year. But things like nonlinear optimization, we've looked at adding something in stochastic optimization and dynamic programming, kind of typically upper level graduate courses that you'd see in operations research as part of that program.
Thank you for that. While we're waiting on questions, we have a few upcoming virtual events. I think there's 4 more if you count towards February, or as this month progresses. Upcoming virtual events. In 2 weeks, Dr. Bill Capehart will be talking about climate change, and I'll drop the registration link for that in the chat for everyone to see. And then we'll also be talking, admissions is going to be talking about navigating the college search on at South Dakota Mines, and that will be Monday night. So if you know of anyone who's interested in attending or sending their children to South Dakota Mines, please feel free to share that with them. We'd be happy to have you on the call. And then the next department update that is talking, we will be featuring the camp department. They will be talking February 3rd at this time at 11. So kind of a busy month. And then just so everyone knows, so we got a bunch of fun topics. Looking forward to the year of 2022. So let's float everybody up there. Get it? Hopefully. Do you think we got it? I think we got everything answered. If anyone thinks of, yeah, and if anyone thinks of anything, feel free to email me or Dr. Wolstead after. If something comes up as you're going on with your day, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you do have. So with that being said, we'll start finishing up. So thank you, Dr. Wolstead.
You bet. Let me put my email in the chat.
Yeah.